everybody. Today is 24th of February. It's a Wednesday, and the spring is there, and Teacher's Talk is here, starting now. Hello, Mr. Roy Willoughby. Welcome, Teacher Fikra. Please, you can say your name. I can't. Introduce yourself and please say your name. What's your name, teacher?
I think Roy should explain his surname, Willoughby, because that's an unusual name.
No, it's not.
If you have
his
half
name
an
is
hour.
easy.
I will after you say your name, Fikra.
Okay, my name is...
It's not Fikra. You're saying wrong. It's not Fikra. You don't say A, do
What
we?
is it? What?
Sorry, teacher.
Okay, so strictly speaking, it's the soft velar CH. So it's Fikra. It's not as harsh. So Arabic speakers and speakers of Hebrew will have a harder ch. But in Irish, we have a softer ch. It's the CH. So it's Fikra Oluin. Yeah.
Yeah, so what did I say? What did I say?
Fikra.
You said it perfectly, Roy.
Guramahagat. Thank you. Obrigado. Gracias.
And the second name, tell us the second name.
Lewin.
Lewin.
Mooney.
Lewin.
Mooney.
Lewin.
No.
Yeah.
Well, is it? Oh, well, you explain. Is it Looney? Looney?
No, Lamb. It's actually
Lamb. Oh, is it? Yeah.
The English version of my name is Lamb, Lamb. But I Gaelicized it. Yeah.
Wow.
But it is related to the McLoons, the Loonies, the way Irish names were changed, anglicized into many different versions.
Mm.
Yes, yeah, indeed. Mine was never Gaelicized. Sadly, the Willoughbys came over in the 16th century, I think, from Lincolnshire, and the name from Saxon English or Old Saxon English, I think Willow V is the farm.
There is an echo.
Yeah,
Right,
echo.
please. Who is doing the echo?
Why? Where?
I don't know. No. Yeah, there is two connections simultaneously. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I have my headphones in, so it's not coming out of my speaker.
Let's go. Yeah, I think it's. Let's see.
Are you okay? Is that okay? Get the production team. Get the production team to work on it.
Where's the production team? They're late today. Oh my goodness.
You paid them enough.
What were you explaining about the willow?
Oh yes, yeah, willow. From Saxon English, willow, as in the tree willow, and it's the we is a farm, an old Saxon word for a farm or a townland. I think both come up, and it's a willow V. And interesting, I know, apropos of nothing, but my sister Joan Johnson wrote a book about a basket maker in Connemara who came over after the famine to try and set up a business. Oh, Fiacre is gone now. So, you're still there. You came and went. But and I helped to launch the book, and while I launched it, I mentioned this, and that willow the baskets were made from willow sapling, the branches of willow, and it was quite pertinent that a person whose surname had been Willoughby should write a book about basket making. Anyway, that's just a side point. But an interesting lady who came over, Sophia Sturge is her name, came over from Headingley and set up a basket making company in Letterfrack about 1860s, I think it was, shortly after the famine, and wanted to try, and it stayed going there for 15 years. And it's near the Connemara National Park in Letterfrack, where it was. There's an old ruined shed there that's still there. Anyway, so
explanations done. We had this introduction, 5 minutes of learning Irish language, because in this country we were supposed to speak Irish, but we don't. We actually speak English. And today, hello, Marcus. Good to see you. How are you all doing? Yes. the echo is gone. We hope the
Good.
echo is gone. And
Como
please,
vai você, Marcos? I hope
Marcos
you
is
are well
here
still.
every week, and get ready for March. Next week we are celebrating 1 year of Teacher's Talk, and today we have a special guest. As he introduced himself, Fikra. I hope I got his name right. And Fikra is also an English teacher. So, how long have you been teaching English, and where did you start teaching? Tell us, Fikra, please.
So I started teaching English in 2003 in Mexico, in a place called Querétaro. It was part of my training when I was doing my undergraduate degree in the University of Limerick. We had to do placement. So I was initially going to be sent to Argentina, but an opportunity came available in a place called Querétaro, and I was the first Irish English language teacher in a school called Colegio Celta International Celtic International School. And the idea was, yes, we were teaching English, preparing students for the international English-speaking sort of job market, but also with sort of an Irish bent. Because in Mexico, very often the way they brand their schools, it'll either be the Anglo-English school or the JFK American English school. So these investors in Querétaro wanted to have sort of another option, being the Irish English language school, sort of the Celtic International School. So yeah, that was 2003. I've taught on and off. Yeah.
So it's 18 years ago.
I think so.
Yeah. Welcome back, Mr. Roy. So you are almost.
That is my fault entirely. I thought I was being very clever to start and send a message about the show to somebody, and I cut myself off. So my apologies. Sorry, Fikra.
That's okay. No problem.
Yeah. So has he finished his life story yet? Sorry.
No, not yet. He just started. We're just at the very beginning.
Continue.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
No, I was just saying I started in Mexico in 2003 in a place called Celtic International School in Querétaro.
So you were the first Irish English teacher in Mexico.
In this school, yeah. In
the school. Oh, okay, yeah, in 2003. And what other places you teach? Like you taught in Brazil? Have you been in Brazil too? Teaching English in Brazil?
So I've been to Brazil. I wasn't teaching English in Brazil so much, a little bit on the side, a little bit, but not in a school. I've been teaching in, so going backwards, I suppose, before Dublin, before the lockdown, I was teaching in 3 different schools in Dublin, but I was teaching University of Liverpool before that, and DCU in Dublin before that. And prior to that, I have taught in France, in Spain, in Mexico, and also on summer camps in Ireland, for Spanish students coming over for the summer. But I haven't been doing it full time. I teach English now and then, but not all the time. I love language, but I prefer to be speaking other languages than to be teaching English. But I suppose it's a love of all languages we have to share.
Absolutely, yes. I would like to welcome everybody that's arriving now. This is Teacher's Talk. If you are here for the first time, please subscribe to our channel on Facebook and share this video with your friends. Let's practice and learn English. So, do you speak Spanish, teacher?
Yeah, I sort of fell in love with Spanish in Mexico in 2000 when I first went there. And yeah, I have a long love affair with Spanish, but I appreciate other languages, but Spanish is my first love.
Okay, very good. Roy, go ahead.
Anytime, Fikra, I have Mexican students, I mention to them the link between the chieftains and the San Patricios, who, and I was just talking to a Mexican student yesterday in Mexico City, and I sent her loads of links about Paddy Maloney's love affair with the San Patricios and the album that they made with Mexican musicians. And there's plenty of it on YouTube, but I always send links about them. But it's another time we will talk about San Patricios. But they were basically Irish guys who had gone to fight for USA against Mexico in the Mexican-USA war. and they had come away to get away from the famine and get jobs in the U.S. Army. But they then, when they were fighting against the Mexicans, they felt that they were fighting against their own fellow Catholics, poor people, and they defected. They deserted and joined the Mexicans and fought against the U.S. But the U.S. won, and they were sadly executed.
Not all of them were executed.
Yeah.
But their story is it's a very, very interesting history. So the president at the time was a guy called President Santa Anna, and when the Americans approached Mexico City, he called all of the Mexican soldiers to defend El Castillo de Chapultepec, which was his residence. But he didn't defend the entrance of the city, which is Rio Churubusco. So the Irish decided to defend Mexico down in Rio Churubusco, and it was supposed to be a very bloody battle because they were sort of independent in their command from Santa Anna, and it's a really interesting story. And I mean, it's not just in Mexico, but because Irish people, we've suffered from imperialism here, we've gone on to support independence campaigns in Chile, in Argentina, and in Mexico, and in other places around the world. So, I mean, I think there's a deep understanding between, Latin America and Ireland about, we have so much in common. And the last 200 years have been about finding our own feet and defining ourselves in a post-colonial, post-modern world.
Actually, as we
Hello,
speak,
everybody. I just want to say hello to people that are together with us. We have Danai from Mexico.
Yes, that's the girl I was talking about.
Yeah.
¿Qué pasa?
José Rafael, welcome, bem-vindo, boa tarde, good afternoon. He's watching from Brazil. A big kiss, a warm kiss from my country to my country, Brazil. Hello, teacher Alberto. Professor Alberto, muito bem-vindo. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you very much.
A big hug.
Yeah, a warm big hug from Brazil, from Ireland to Brazil, of course. And hello, Amaro. Hello, Amaro. Welcome, bem-vindo. Fikra, where are you from, actually? Are you Irish? Like born and bred? Like, are you really Irish? Or, sorry.
I was born in Cork, and I moved from Cork, and I moved to Donegal, Derry in 1994. So I was lucky enough to sort of have my childhood in Cork, but then I was a teenager in Donegal, Derry during the peace process when the war ended. So I feel very lucky that I've seen many different parts of Ireland at key moments. So yeah, I've lived in Sligo, Limerick, Galway, Offaly, Dublin as well. So it's a small island. I think it's well worth getting to know. And
he's been around Ireland, and he's been around the world as well.
Yeah, just like me, Roy. Just like me. Yeah.
Well traveled.
You were saying, right? Sorry, I had to interrupt you because I had to say hi to my friends here. And Marcos has a friend to Fikra before. What we were saying, Roy? Please go ahead.
Oh no, somebody to welcome Danai from Mexico. That's the girl I was talking to yesterday.
Okay.
So,
yeah, very good.
Yes, so I'm glad she came. But and I hope she got all the links I sent about San Patricio, the San Patricios, and so. But anyway,
Sorry, Roy. We have a video here. We have a video here. Before I bring this video on, we have a question from Marcos, and I like to welcome Gaudier. Hello, Gaudier, bem-vindo.
Hello.
We better explain to Fikra who Gaudier is. He is this is quite a welcome visitor, and he's not a what's the word? An invader, intruder. Intruder. You're not an intruder.
No.
So, do you see a resemblance? Gaudier is in Indaiatuba in Brazil, and he, unlike his mother, he is a very good musician. And but his mother is
can't sing a tune. She's very bad singing. Yeah, she's very bad singing. Yes,
she is
guys.
Gaudier, I used to have a music session in my last school, Fikra, in my only school, which is now finished, gone, the English studio. But Gaudier used to come and play the guitar, and he is a much better guitarist than me. You will hear him sometime, I hope. If
Yes.
not today, but he is a fantastic guitarist.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
the welcoming,
much.
Roy.
Yeah.
You're very kind.
You're
We
going
have
to
a
make me cry.
question from Marcos.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Fika. Did you try, I don't know how to say,
Mezcal. Oh, yeah,
Mezcal.
mezcal drink in Mexico? How was the experience? If I drink it, will I become a bookworm?
Bookworm. Yeah, do you
Cheers,
know that
mate.
word?
Yeah.
Yeah, bookworm.
Well,
I don't know.
I've heard many excuses about why people drink, and I haven't ever heard that before. But I have
What's the
tried
connection?
mezcal. I've tried it since when I first went in when I was 18, and it needs to come with a warning label. It's very good. I've seen it being made in Oaxaca and other places. It's a very strong type of spirit made from the agave, which they sort of you burn the roots, and then there's a whole process where you crush it and ferment it, and then sometimes they do put in little animals in the fermentation process, but not always. The last time I was there, 2018, I brought myself back a couple of bottles.
Sounds delicious.
Is there any connection with mescaline? I mean, it's not from that. It's not a psychedelic drink.
If you drink enough of it, it can be.
But so can Guinness.
We have another question from José Rafael. Welcome, José Rafael Nasser Kayafa. When people say Ireland is about Republic of Ireland or North Ireland, that's a very good question. And we have two Irish people to give you this answer. Roy Willoughby, please tell him what's the answer for this question.
Yeah. Well,
Teacher Roy.
It depends what part of the country you come from. We refer to the Republic of Ireland probably a little smugly as Ireland, but in fact Ireland is technically the island of Ireland, and we, as you know, politically are divided: the Republic of Ireland and North of Ireland, and North of Ireland is still part of the United Kingdom, which is an ongoing debate, and the Republic got its independence in 100 years ago. And that was the treaty was signed after the War of Independence, and there was a big debate whether they should settle for leaving 6 counties of Northern Ireland being part of the United Kingdom, but they did, and then we had a civil war to try and sort that out a bit more, but the status quo remained, and still we have Northern Ireland as part of the United Kingdom. So yes, it depends. Technically, Ireland is the whole island, and then it is politically divided between the Republic and North of Ireland. But we do, I mean, when we are shouting for the Irish soccer team, there are 2 soccer teams, Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, but we would never shout, "Come on, Republic of Ireland." We say, "Come on, Ireland, vai Irlanda." And is that, well, yeah,
yeah. And what's the difference? So, Fikra, what part of Ireland are you from? Are you from the north? Or what's
all Ireland?
So I'm pan-Irish. I just think Irish is anyone who comes from this island, and I suppose it's important. Roy explained this. Ireland wasn't divided by Irish people; it was divided in London. So it was a decision that was not made by Irish people, and there was never a sense of not being Irish, even if you felt that Ireland should remain part of the UK or Britain. You didn't deny you're Irish up until recently. That's a new phenomenon. So, I mean, I come from the border between Donegal and Derry. So, I mean, for me, being Irish is also, we're the same people, same sense of humor, same culture. So you have some minor differences, like the car have different registrations, you use different money, but this is very superficial. And when you live your life on both sides of the border, you realize we have so much in common. But I was born in Cork in the very far south, and I was after I moved, I did my secondary school in Derry in the north. But yeah, no, it's for me, it's as Roy explains, it's a political divide, but not among the people. And we have had a peace process the last 25, 30 years, and you see more people understanding that we have more in common in difference.
Yeah.
Gaudí, do you have any question? Because I want to show you guys a short video. and to bring this conversation to the table, if I can say this. Gaudier, do you have any questions
I do
to
indeed.
ask?
I don't know if I can categorize it as a question, but I remember that the first and only time I went to Northern Ireland, I was quite shocked with the difference, because at first, mostly if you're not from Ireland, if you don't have that background, and maybe if you're not biased, at first when you cross the border, it's a bit shocking, because it's shocking for me as a person who from a country who speaks only one language to see signs and everything in two languages, and it's shocking to see that the first language in those signs in public offices is the language that no one speaks, quote unquote. And when you cross the border, that's completely different. I didn't see that connection with the Gaelic culture as I saw in Ireland. I might be wrong. I'm not ashamed of being wrong, but I felt a difference. So like, it's surprising for me to say that you don't
Yeah.
see that difference, because for me as an immigrant, as an outsider, that difference was really clear. I think for me, obviously, I've been there only once. You grew up crossing the border, right? But it's quite shocking. I thought
So
that it was completely
Right, we've
different.
got a wee bit of wind and rain here coming in from Glasgow.
I
going
want to
into
share
Edinburgh.
this video. There is a
Edinburgh.
connection
I know that
with
sounds like a
Gaudier.
question, but it is a
Sorry.
statement. And in Belfast,
Stop. Yeah, I want to share this video with you guys because it's a very funny video, and I think we can listen the differences between all Irish accents. Talking about language, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, please just type below. Let's watch this very quick short video. Let's
right,
go.
so we've got a wee bit of wind and rain here coming in from Glasgow going into Edinburgh. I know that sounds like a question, but it is a statement. And in Belfast, sit down right now. I'm going to fucking smack your head in because there's thunder and lightning, so get under the table. But in Dublin, everything's fine, so it is. There's beautiful heavy rain coming in for you, and it's going to look that way the whole year round. And in Cardiff, well, there's no weather today. There's just a giant marauding dragon. He's picking up the sheep in the valleys, cooking them up like a puppy pig. And in Bristol, well, the sun's out, which means wandering hands. I told him to keep his hands to himself. He said, "You're right, my lover." I said, "I'll tell you if you're my lover." And in Liverpool, there's a thing, what's it called? It's like a chicken, but with lips. What's it called? It's like a chicken, but it's got lips. Like, yeah, got lips. Oh, it's a duck. Yeah, duck. Yeah, there's going to be loads of ducks. And in York, go up to the pub and stay out to rain because winter is coming. Pop in the kettle and make us a brew. And in Newcastle, going down the town later after the Reggie Storm, it'll be a proper clear night. You might see stars. You might even see Cheryl Cole. A right pet. And in London, "You're right, yeah, I'm all right. Don't express my feelings. It's cloudy. My dad might be in the closet, but I'm all right." And in Southwest London, where people sound like they're on BBC Radio 4 and everyone's on Valium, yes, the weather stays pretty much the same, can't really complain, things are going pretty well, yeah. And that's all we have for the weather.
Everyone is on Valium. It's crazy. Very funny. Yeah. So, guys,
so that's well. Gaudier was talking about the Irish language being on all signs for the roads and in public buildings, and because we spoke Irish here up until 800 years ago, and the country that invented the language you've just heard now tried to eliminate it, and that's why it for 800 years it was almost it made illegal to speak Irish, or not obviously all the time, but now hopefully it is making a comeback. But it's very difficult to come back after such a battering it had. But it's a beautiful language, very poetic, and it should, if you think of, she did a Cardiff accent there, but in fact Wales has its own language as well, and I think the Welsh have managed to preserve their language pretty well, and we have a lesson to learn from them. But yeah, anyway, that's just by way of comment answering Gaudier's point. But I'm conscious, Fernanda, that we really should get Fiacre to tell us about ELSU, that he was involved with. So
I would just come in to answer what Gaudi was saying earlier. So my experience going from Cork to Derry to go to school is that I was among my fellow Irish people who didn't have automatic access to their own culture. In Cork, I was learning Irish in school, in primary school. We took it for granted. We took Gaelic football, we took hurling for granted. But then when I moved up to Derry, you see people, and it was a military occupation. So for me, the difference wasn't. I know what you mean. Signposts seem like an obvious difference, but when you spend long enough somewhere, this is very superficial. It's about the spirit, about people's heart, people's generosity, people's sense of community, and that's what we share. So there are some little differences, and in accent and stuff like that. But for me, the great difference was that there was a military occupation that was really quite ugly, and there was a lot of fear, trauma, and that is what we have overcome in the last few years. So that's what I mean, is that, it is that sense of generosity, saying hello to everyone on the street. We're country people. And as Roy said, the Irish language has been targeted. And it wasn't until really after the famine that we lost so many people to the United States, to Canada and Australia, and a lot of our Irish speakers and our intelligentsia.
And to death as well.
And to death, yes.
Yeah. I mean, 1 million people died.
Absolutely.
Which is one of the worst parts of the Irish history.
Yeah.
Do you like teaching, Fiacre?
I do. I mean, I'll explain. When I was teaching in Mexico, it was the 2003, and I was very aware that the people who were attacking Iraq at the time were the United States, were the UK, were Australia. And I remember at that time feeling a bit conscious about the English language, going, I don't want the English language to define how people see me in Mexico. Okay, I have a job teaching English. I think learning any language is a beautiful exercise and something we should do. But I didn't want to be part of the same cultural imperialism that was attacking Iraq in any form. And actually, it reinforced my efforts to learn Spanish because, ask Roy or any other Irish person, English is a very practical language, and Irish people can be very playful and creative with the English language, but we have a lot of our own complexes, a lot of our own history, and a lot of chips in our shoulder, that trauma that we are overcoming. So, I think languages shouldn't be politicized. Unfortunately, very often they are, and there's history there. But I overcame this sort of, I used to want to distance myself from the English language when I was in Latin America. But I understand now that, people need to learn many languages. When you learn a language, it helps you to see the world through different eyes and almost to have a different relationship with yourself. So it's a fantastic exercise that we should recommend everybody does.
Yeah, very true. Yeah. So this is not supposed to be a very long conversation, because people tend to come and go. So we have a question from José Rafael. And Rafael, I want to ask this question now because I think it's a very controversial question, and I think I wouldn't like to go through this path, if you don't mind, like talking about IRA. As a political group, it doesn't exist anymore, as far as I know. But it's up to you guys if you want to answer this question.
So
like
the war ended about 25 years ago, and we have a sort of a political process where people who used to think that fighting was the only option now have ways of expressing their opinions. So no, it doesn't really exist in any real form anymore. But it is something that used to be associated with Ireland a lot. But I think that's going back more 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah. And we have the YouTube song Sunday Bloody Sunday, Bloody Sunday. That it's a good memory. I don't know. I think maybe that's why this question always come to our minds. I understand, Rafael, where you're coming from.
Can I ask something really quickly?
Of course.
She's frozen, or It's just me or she's frozen?
Your mother's frozen. Yes, she looks cold, all right. Yeah.
Okay, so let's enjoy the moment to talk.
Fernanda, can you speak to us, Fernanda?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, she is definitely
Wow.
frozen. It's quite a nice picture, actually. Yeah.
What was your question?
Okay, I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to watch Peaky Blinders. Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
Have you?
Little bits of it, not much.
Yeah.
I have
Like
seen maybe one or two episodes.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
I
back.
would like to.
Yeah.
There she is. There she is. Something extremely
Thank you,
quickly.
Rafael.
Something
Yeah,
extremely
ahead.
quickly. You guys, as Irishmen, what's your perspective on the way that the IRA and the Irish society is portrayed on that show? Do you think that's fair? Do you think that's that might be some prejudice? Do you guys have any opinion on that?
I haven't watched enough of it. I don't know whether I saw I only saw one or two episodes, so I don't know. No, I
haven't really seen it either.
Yeah,
I haven't really seen it.
Yeah,
No.
but maybe that's for another time to talk. No, I mean, the IRA have supposedly put down their arms, and we are now into a political situation, and I think that's the way it hopefully will move forward. But I think, Fernanda, we should get Fiacre just to tell us about the setting up of ELSU, shouldn't we?
What is this and what is it? What is ELSU?
Okay, so
Floor.
when this pandemic hit, I was teaching in 3 different schools, and we realized that not all students were receiving the same information from their schools in the same way. Some schools were better than others. And also we realized that the school owners themselves didn't know what was happening. So as you know, I've been an immigrant myself. I've been in another country where I didn't, I started off not understanding anything. And I think those of us who've been in that experience, we can imagine how scary it can be to be on the other side of the world at the beginning of a global pandemic when there's so much uncertainty. So we did some research initially with Google Forms and with YouTube videos. We started a survey. The first survey, we had over 1,000 people in a week answer 30 questions. And the second survey, we had around 1,000 as well answer about 30 questions too, which were quite large bodies of data that we were able to look at. And it was very frightening because we realized that there was a lot of people from Brazil, from Chile, from Mexico, all over Latin America, also Turkey and other parts of the world, who were very vulnerable, very frightened, and also maybe didn't have access to services. So they didn't have their PPS number, they didn't have their legal documents. So when we identified that these were really serious issues, we contacted, I think the government actually, someone in the Department of Education contacted me, and basically, because we had met each other years before, and he said, well, can you present this data to the department? So we did, and then we realized that there was more work to be done. And we were in touch with so many different students. Initially, it was just through Facebook and WhatsApp. I was putting my personal Facebook and WhatsApp out there. And it realized that the demand was so high that we had to organize ways to prioritize and also to reach out to people and figure out what are not just the individual cases, but the trends. It wasn't, and also encouraging people to think that if it's happening for me, it's probably happening for somebody else, to encourage people to think as a community. So that was up until May. We were doing sort of data work and communicating. And then in May of last year, 2020, we had a meeting attended by about 50 people, and we adopted a founding statement, which was, we decided that we would base this on the terms of reference for the working group that the government has to discuss these issues. And up until that point, there hadn't been a direct input from students, just from ICOS, and ICOS are direct, more related to the institution. So It was a chance for students to have their voices heard, and we've been having meetings regularly since then, and finding out what are the new issues that arise. So once you solve one issue, you move on to the next. Or if you've solved an issue, for example, we have to switch we achieved in getting the visa document switched from being the passport to the IRP card, because people were having their passports lost in the post. So it was about, working through languages, working through Portuguese, Spanish, Turkish, and other languages, making sure people felt, that they were being heard and that their issues weren't just happening to just one person, figuring out the numbers, relating that back to government, and having a response and having those communication channels open. So
how many people are working together with you?
So we've been in touch over the last, so it's nearly a year now. In total, we've been in touch. We've had contact with some sort with up to about 5,000 or 6,000 people. So that would be through.
No, this is not my question. I'm asking how many people is doing this work together with you.
So that's fluid.
Like
so
the
initially,
the organizing group.
Yeah. So initially, there was two of us doing the surveys, and then we reached out, and there was some fantastic contributions from people working in the community in migrant rights, and we had support. And then we grew to about, I'd say maybe 10 or 15. But because it's a pandemic and because people have their commitments and families, not everyone's always able to be there at the same time. So more and more we've been, we have meetings now and then. Last time it was about 50 people came to the meeting. Sometimes it can be 20. And it really depends on if somebody is still in the country and they want to have their voices heard, then they're more present. But sometimes people, they go back to Brazil or they go back to their own country and they have other, they get a job, for example. That's happened a few times because we don't have any funding. We're working completely with zero money, just an internet connection and laptops and a printer. So we cannot expect people to give a full commitment when there's no money involved necessarily. So we have a great number of people, Turkish people, Brazilians, people from Argentina, from Mexico. We've had a lot of people, and we
How many students are involved to this? In fact, how many students? Because you are a teacher, and I guess there are other people doing other jobs. So how many real students are there organizing themselves?
So it's about 50 in the last meeting that come along, and we would relate back what's happened in the working group. We have another meeting on tomorrow actually. So today we are getting ready, and I've been contacting in the WhatsApp groups and also on the phone, talking to people, asking them to review the documentation before we go into the meeting to give opinions.
Very good. Yeah. Well done, Fikra. One more question for you. Once pandemic, the restrictions are going to be loose, of course. Once the level 5 finished, do you intend to keep doing this job? How far would you like to go with this organization, with this? What's your idea?
Okay, so basically the rules say that level 5, level 4, all classes will be online. So I suppose we are going to continue until there are more rules in place. I mean, personally, I would like to be able to walk away from this and leave this in the hands of other people so that it's a viable organization, that other people can keep it going. And I think that it needs to include employment. So as I say, you can't expect people to do this for free. So I think we need to get to a point where there's funding made available so that 4 or 5 people can be employed to organize and to continue on campaigns which are relevant to these people. Personally, when the pandemic hit, I realized, okay, I got the PUP, I have an income, I'm secure, I don't have kids, I have the time, I don't have other commitments. So it's like anything, when you're in a campaign, you realize you're doing it for other people who also would like to be doing it, but they've got other commitments. So I'm in a situation where I'm able and I have more time to be able to dedicate to this, and I'm okay financially at the moment. So maybe whenever the PUP ends and stuff like this, I will then have to think about, I'm going to have to get another job or something like this. But I hope at that stage we will be able to hand over, and there will be a budget available for other people to be employed to continue this work. The thing is, we need to achieve things first. So my objective is, I've been trying to figure out what the students want, and that's a visa extension of about a year is what people have said they would be satisfied with, and also maybe an increase to working hours. This is what. So if we achieve this, we can show that there are results. We have had a lot of results already.
Even though this is not like, I don't want to have a debate here. It's not my intention. I'm just like want to explain people what is ELSU. What this was the question. Roy asked this question basically. Yes. So
yeah, and I
think it's
we
very
should,
important.
Yeah. And I think we should pay tribute to the amount of work that Fiacre has
he's
put
doing,
in.
of course.
Yeah, no, but
as he said, because he had the time, and like I'm working, you are not working, and Fiacre is not working. But like my life, it's the same. I'm working 60 hours, 65 hours per week, 70 hours per week. So I think it's very good. Like he had the initiative to do this.
Yeah,
like
because
it's
when you consider
very good.
Before COVID, this organization didn't exist. And now not only does it exist, but they have representation on this interdepartmental committee that is looking at the English language sector during the COVID. And also we had to fight for teacher representation on it. And that has happened as well. So now we have student and teacher representation on that interdepartmental committee that is monitoring the situation. But I don't know what's going to happen after COVID, really, because a lot of all our classes have gone online, and some classes may be working out quite well. I hope. I love personally the classroom situation, but when you think about it, learning language is possibly it's something that you can do online. We are talking, we are communicating. What we are missing is the smell and the really human interaction. But it's almost, I don't know. I haven't taught much online, and I'm thinking. But Fiacre and I were at a conference this weekend about teaching online and the experience, the new normal, as they called it. And there were lots of interesting people there. And it is, I mean, when my school closed, I didn't continue. I said, no, I don't want a class online or Zoom. But the more I think about it now, after that conference, there are creative ways of doing it. And maybe I will try, and I think I would like to do maybe 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 classes. But the way schools work, you have to have 15 in a class. And I don't know whether I could do that online. Fiacre, have you taken classes online?
We have another question. I want to answer these two questions, and then we go to, because the time is flying. So Fiacre, before you answer, there's two questions here that
very important.
What's the meaning of being a teacher for you? This is the first question from Marcus, and from Rafael. Is stout beer typical in Ireland or all United Kingdom? I don't have an answer for this question.
I'll take the first question first because it relates to what we were saying earlier. So basically, and it informed how ELSU was founded. So I would ascribe to the view of Paulo Freire that teaching is an act of, love, but a love for others, society. That being a teacher isn't that you're giving facts and figures. It's about helping people develop their own sense of agency, and showing through example, and also helping people achieve their own objectives, and realizing that education isn't a top-down, I'm going to fill this empty bucket with something till it's full. No, it's a two-way experience. So that being a teacher also means that you're a learner, and that, and students therefore are also teachers. So I have learned so much in the course of the year, and I've been educated in different places around the world too. And I think, it's really important to bring all of our different experiences to the classroom, to help each other, to learn more, and to become better teachers, better learners, better students. But that would come back to me when we were founding ELSU. That was the idea, that it's informed by the example of Paulo Freire from Brazil, but also from Mother Jones, the Cork woman who organized people in industrial America to realize their own potential and not to be victims of circumstance. So I suppose ELSU has a lot to thank Paulo Freire and the examples that he has given.
Thank you very much for mentioning him. Yeah, very important figure. Yes, right. So what's the difference? We have this question from
Stout. Yeah. No. From who was asking that question? Was it
Jose Rafael? Rafael was asking this question.
Well, now stout is an international type of beer. I just looked up the dictionary. Stout is a kind of strong, dark beer brewed with roasted malt or barley. But this is international, and in fact, it probably started. The example quotation in the dictionary is, there is a tradition in England of drinking stout while eating oysters. Now, but Guinness is probably the most famous. So the answer is that stout is international, but Guinness is Irish. But of course, it is brewed all around the world now. But and it is very. I mean, oysters with Guinness is a beautiful combination. If you can afford the oysters, if you can afford the Guinness. But so that's stout is an international dark beer. Made with roasted malt and barley.
Very good.
I hope that answers is
Jose Rafael.
Very important. Very important.
Yes, guys, I would like to thank you very much for being here today. We were very happy. We are very happy because all of us, like me, and many other students had problems here in Ireland. And me, myself, I was a student in some stage. Gaudier was a student as well. That's how I met Roy.
Hey, Fiacre, are you impressed? Fernanda was my student. Look, and do you think I have taught her well? She had other teachers. She had other teachers better than me.
I can't let him go. I will never let him go, Fiacre. He will be here forever, my teacher.
Paulo Freire has a lot to answer for.
Yeah, Paulo Freire is amazing.
I also know from talking with Roy that you're very highly regarded, Fernanda, and you've been very helpful both to teachers and to students. So I think it's great to have this conversation. It's been great. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh yeah, I think you can come. You have to come back. You must come back because we didn't have enough time to talk about other stuff. It's sad. Time flies. Gaudier was here and he didn't have the chance to talk that much, but we can come back and we will be together again next Wednesday. Please, guys, you can say goodbye.
Fiacre, can you see the comments? Can you see the comments in the comments? So you see Marcus says, wow, mate. Wow, he sounds like he's English. Wow, mate. You read Paulo Freire. This is awesome. Congratulations. Yeah. Parabéns.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see all the comments now. Sorry, I just saw the ones that came
that's what I mean. Yeah. Your fan club. Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it's lovely to speak with you. Yeah. And I didn't see the one with the question about Mexico, but what surprised me in Mexico is just an amazing place to be. And I mean, I think that's true of all of Latin America. And as a young Irish guy, it totally opened my eyes to just how beautiful the world can be, how, what a sensory feast it is, whether it's how fruit is presented, how people relate to each other, and I recognize a lot of Irish sense of humor in Mexico. We share a lot of that.
Are you half Mexican? Are you married to a Mexican woman? Don't you?
Yeah,
aren't you? Not don't you? Aren't
Sorry,
you?
Aren't you? Sorry, I lost this class. This class I was never there. I was there. I wasn't there. So, are you half Mexican?
I've done. I'm not going out with a Mexican right now, but I have done. And Mexican, I'm very, very, very close. Sometimes when I speak with a Mexican in Ireland, it's like, oh, saudade. It's like, this is my other country, But my father
I know the feeling.
My father lives in Mexico. I have lots of my best friends.
Right.
I spent my 20s in Mexico, so it's my other home.
Very good. Okay, guys. So if you are at home, please stay there. We are in level 5 in Ireland, and please, in Brazil, stay home. Thank you very much for coming. Share this video. Come back next Wednesday. And don't forget, Monday at 2 p.m. Sorry, at 12 in Brazil, we have vocabulary lunchtime with Teachers Talk. See you again. All the best. Bye, 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 bye.
Hasta
Bye, bye,
luego.
bye,
See you.
bye.
Hasta la vista.